What's going on? What's going on? We are back this month with your Purple Pants play by play. It's becoming a regular thing here on the podcast. And I'm super excited to have the man, the myth, the legend, Jelinsky here with us to break down some of these hot sport topics because you know I can't do it by myself. You know I can't do it, period. But welcome back to the podcast. Jelinsky, what's popping with you?
Yo, what's good, Brice? I'm happy to be here. Like you said, we're starting to do these monthly now, so that's super cool. Y'all better be tuning in. We're trying to grow the audience. We've got some topics to talk about today. They're going to be exciting. Brice, I got to apologize because I know you had San Francisco Bryson win last week, and I couldn't make it. But listen, Brice, I saw it was the episode of Miss, but I want to know, are y'all ever coming to Vegas or what? What's good?
I mean, listen, there have been a lot of people in our comments saying we should come to Vegas. There were a lot of people in our comments saying we need to come to San Francisco. We went to San Francisco and San Francisco showed out. So if Vegas wants a BWP stop for 49, I think we can make that happen. I mean, we might have to get some Jelinsky shot
Whoa.
machines in the building, but I definitely think we could add Vegas to our West Coast tour. You know, we try to group them together, but yeah, you definitely missed the episode, Jelinsky. People were asking, they said, "Where's Jelinsky at?" I said, "I don't
Man,
know."
I know, and it's rare. I feel like a lot of the watch parties these days are on the East Coast. So, like, when I miss the West Coast one, I get bummed out about that. So, y'all, I'm telling y'all, whenever it's West Coast, everyone who was there that didn't get to see me, that's not like me. I'm gonna pop out next time, I promise you. And maybe it'll be in Vegas, like Brice is saying. Shit, we'll see. If it's in Vegas, I'm there. I'm helping set up and everything. So.
Okay, listen, you have heard it here first, but Jelinsky texted me the day before saying he couldn't make it, had me feeling like LeBron, and I wanted to walk up on Jelinsky and say, "What's good? What's goody? What's happening? What's popping?" And so this is a huge topic in sports right now. LeBron walking up to Stephen A. Smith at a
Man.
game, and we see the interaction. The video was going viral, and then we see Stephen A. Smith the next morning feeling like I watched the clip. I feel like I watched it at an airport, and I felt like Stephen A. Smith was like a reporter, and it was 9/11. Like the way that he was talking, and it was like, because when Stephen A. Smith, he's always yelling, he's doing this. On this clip, it was giving very much that wasn't LeBron talking to me. That was a father talking to a father, and I can't be mad. But before we get into all of this LeBron and Stephen A. Smith, what is your take on Stephen A. Smith, Jelinsky? Because when I do play by play, I use a lot of my resources. I have a little pillow talk with a friend who's into sports. I have my brothers. I have Wendeezy and Joey, and I ask them about him. And so, what's your take on him?
Man, okay, so Stephen A, I'm a huge Stephen A fan. Okay, but here's the thing: to be a successful media outlet, you gotta be a little bit of a character. Now, Stephen A, he has his hot takes. Sometimes Stephen A is wrong. He is wrong as hell, and honestly, he provides great information. I'd say it's about 90% and 10%. But just know there is a 10%. So me as a whole, I love Stephen A. I think he really made sports media honestly what it is today. So a huge props to Stephen A. But he's a little bit of a character. He's a little bit out of this world.
I mean, because we do the play by play and Jelinsky tells me a lot of things to watch, I do put Stephen A on, and he is very entertaining to watch. However, when I seek counsel for the play by play, my pillow talk companion, last month he gave us some topics to talk about, and I was like, well, what should we talk about? And I brought up Stephen A, and he's not a fan. He was saying that like he gets too personal. He doesn't talk about sports anymore, and he's loud and wrong. And then when I started consulting with my brother and Wendeezy, a lot of people, I feel like from my realm in Philadelphia, they said the same thing. They're like, Stephen A. Smith, he's a character. Like, he doesn't talk about sports. He goes too personal. They don't enjoy him. And so I was like, wow, that's something that I didn't know. And I feel like LeBron might be from Philly because LeBron did not enjoy Stephen A. Smith. And according to Stephen A. Smith, the interaction was, of course, about Bronny, and Stephen was very critical of Bronny during the draft, during him getting into an NBA team. People feel like he's not NBA ready, and it's not so much that they don't like Bronny. People are just saying he took a spot from somebody that really deserved it. Like, Bronny wasn't even starting at his school. And so LeBron checking Steven is kind of crazy. Not crazy. It's like, what a father would do. But, I do listen to Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade. They were on a podcast, and Dwayne Wade said, like, as a father, I'm checking him. Carmelo Anthony, because I got to differentiate the two, because there is a mellow, there's a couple of mellows, but Carmelo Anthony says that this is a long feuded beef that's going on for 22 years. And so Stephen A. Smith even said that, like, when he was talking about Bronny, he was really talking about LeBron and, like, really criticizing LeBron for using his leverage to get Bronny into the NBA and putting Bronny in this position. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts?
Man, so, I mean, and that's a fact. Everyone knows that LeBron is the only reason Bronny got to the NBA. And I shouldn't say that, because that's kind of very direct. I don't want to put Bronny down like that, because he's a great basketball player. But who knows? Say Bronny wasn't even LeBron's kid. Say he ends up being like, I don't know, Derek Coleman Jr. Maybe he wouldn't have been put into basketball. So basically, this kid's whole life has been surrounded by basketball, because he was born from the greatest basketball player of all time. And I mean that. And I know there's a Michael Jordan. So anyway, I think Stephen A. is 100% right in everything that he said. However, now, originally, he didn't need to publicize that, even though it's his job. He got a little bit too personal, and him and LeBron definitely have beef. They've had beef. Now, LeBron, this is kind of the crazy thing, in my opinion. I think that all of this comes back to him, because, Brice, when you sent me that video, I didn't even know this was happening. So I opened this up on TikTok at my work, and then next thing you know, I'm like 15 minutes in. I'm like, oh, shit, this is a whole ass video.
Right.
So I opened it immediately, and I was like, damn, this is like a saga. So LeBron, he should have known better. I don't think he should have ever checked Stephen Smith like that in public. It all goes back to LeBron. And this is why. With Bronny in mind, he should have never checked Stephen A. in public, because it just makes everything so much worse. Much worse.
See, this is where I'm with you and I'm not with you, because in my opinion, everything is already worse. Everything is already huge. We see Bronny's where he's at in the G League. We see him on the Lakers. Mind you, I love Bronny. But I personally feel like Brice, and I'm not being biased, I feel like Brice is the one to watch. His school just went to the state championship and they won. But I just feel like I'm torn, because it's like, as a father, like, you're not going to disrespect my kid, like, period. And I'm going to say something to you, but also it's like, you are the NBA, not the Lakers. Like, you're the NBA franchise player. Like, you have to have a little bit more decorum. However, this is why we have play-by-play. I live for the moments, and the clip is literally like 35 seconds. LeBron is just heated, and I will have to say, Stephen handled it well. He stood there. He didn't antagonize him. He didn't add anything. He just listened, and then that was done. And so, like, there is a point where random story, right? So, my sport of choice, Jelinsky, is soccer.
Okay.
Been playing soccer all my life since I'm 9 years old. I always wanted to be like a right wing center, but like, I'm just born to be a fullback, right? Like, I'm just like, I protect my goalie. I'm a killer fullback. And I remember, like, my high school year, my summer of 8th grade going into 9th grade, we moved. And so, like, every year I'll always be on a traveling team. But since we moved, I had to go to a new traveling team. And
Mhm.
so I was like excited. I'm like, hey, like, it's a new team. And I'll never forget, it was like the first day of practice. I get to the team and I'm like excited to like, just be the new kid on the block. But that ended very shortly because first day on the practice, I'm getting teased. I'm getting bullied a little. They're like, they're calling me gay. They're like saying I sound like a girl, just like weird shit. And maybe 25 minutes into the practice, I'm like, I'm going home. I decided to walk home. And one of the reasons why I played soccer is because all of my brothers played soccer. And my second to oldest brother, who's deceased now, but he was like a soccer king. And so I remember like I got home and my brother was home from college and he's like, why are you home? Like, we just dropped you off at practice. And I'm like, they were making fun of me. And like I go in my room and I cry. And so random story, but the soccer field in which we played was like kind of behind my house. Like my backyard was kind of sort of the field. And so like I'm in my room and I'm just like, I hate this place. I want to go back to my old team. And I just hear out of the window, because it's like the end of summer, I hear like screaming. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? What's happening? And so I go in my backyard and I can hear my brother's voice, like, who was saying to my brother? Say it to me. Like my brother is going off. And I remember feeling like going home crying, feeling defeated, but I also remember that feeling of like, you messing with me, messing with my brother. I ain't gonna say nothing. And so, and so, there is something to be said about like, LeBron saying something, because he's been pretty silent about all of the Bronny criticism.
Mhm.
And I think like sometimes when you gotta, what they say, kill the head of the snake or kill the head of the monster, everything dies down. And so I do think there is something to him saying that to him, right? Like, listen, but I also feel like he could have done it a little differently, a little, and like Steven said, LeBron could have asked me to come. I would have flew out. We could have had the conversation. We could have, like all of that. So I do feel like I'm not mad at all at LeBron standing up for Bronny. I just wish it wasn't in that public forum. But at the same time, I feel like I'm a hypocrite because I love the public forum. You know what? You want to talk about my son in public? I'm going to check your ass in public.
Well, I like that short. I like that story you shared too, because from Bronny's perspective, man, and from a human standpoint, if I were LeBron's son and I'm just totally getting shit on every week, and I will say Bronny's been playing a lot better. I've been seeing a lot of more Bronny highlights. I think it was against the Nuggets, maybe not the Nuggets, but a few weeks ago, man, he was cooking. He had like 9 points. I was like, okay, Bronny, like pop off. But if I were LeBron's son playing basketball, trying to make it through, I I would have appreciated LeBron sticking up for me. I think I would rather have my dad stand up for me rather than him not, because
Right.
that's kind of a lie. But I don't know if I would have seen that without that story that you shared, because that's true. At the end of the day, they always say it's bigger than basketball, or it's bigger whatever sports you play, and I think that's true, because when LeBron goes home at night to Savannah and his wonderful children, he's probably thinking, man, basketball aside, especially with LeBron's upbringing, I want to be a great father, because he didn't have his dad. So I think I respect that a little bit more. So that's, and also, can you pull up that picture again of Stephen A?
I can.
Look at how straight this man's
Right.
back
Yeah.
is, bro. I don't think he's ever been checked like that. I know his ass was nervous. He was like, oh man, I know what's going on behind me. Everyone's taking pictures of this. I got to make sure I present myself. Okay, LeBron. Okay, LeBron. I understand. That's a funny picture.
It's I'm assuming he's one of part of the athletic team, one of the coaches that's standing behind LeBron, that's like just catching like what's happening, but obviously knowing that this is a moment, like he's like, oh, you go, whoa, what's happening? So again, father, I'm not mad. You come for you play about my children, I'm gonna play about you. But as the franchise player of the NBA, I don't love this image. And again, specifically because LeBron is a black man. That they already say black men are aggressive, where all of these stereotypes that they say, I really feel like in this situation, they're going to add on to that. However, they're not looking at the context. Obviously, Stephen A. Smith has been very critical of LeBron for the last 22 years, and he's doing his job and doing a good job at it. And again, Stephen A. Smith is a black man. So then you see these two black men going at it. I don't love the optics, but I love the optics, right? Like, it's like, check his behind, check him. And then interesting enough, I want to say at the last Lakers game, I meant to send this to you earlier, but some fan was, heckling Bronny.
Oh, man.
And Bronny, this what I will say about Bronny is throughout all of the criticism, even though Bronny don't fly on commercial, even though Bronny don't stay at the courtyard, throughout all of this speculation, not speculation, but like throughout all of this discourse about Bronny, he's been silent. Like, right, we don't see anything. But this heckler was going in on Bronny at the last Lakers game, and it's so hilarious. I will send you this clip, and if you haven't seen it, it's on TikTok. It's making a circulation. Bronny looks up at the guy, and he just mouths to the guy, "Your chains are fake." Right? Like, and it's like in the video, and again, Bronny's not yelling it. He just literally looks at the camera and he's like, "Your chains are fake." And it is taking the internet by storm. And so, not the biggest Bronny fan. Right.
I gotta watch that.
Not the biggest Bronny fan here, but I do have a lot of respect for Bronny, and I am definitely keeping my eye out for Brice James, because I feel like Bronny is the Zoe of the Ball brothers, and I feel like Brice could be the Mellow of the Ball brothers, right? I think like Brice could be the superstar. So it is interesting to see how this will all play out. But in keeping it moving, we have some other historic things going. Steph Curry hit the magic number of 4,003 points in his career. And I believe it is the highest in NBA history, period. And that's just crazy. Like 4,000 points. And he is number one by James Harden, Ray Allen, Damon, then Klay Thompson, Reggie Miller. Shout out to Reggie Miller, LeBron James, Kyle, Paul George, and Vince Carter. But like 4,000 points is kind of crazy. And Steph is leading the pack by a lot. I think the closest one, this is from like a week ago, was James Harden at 3,127. That's kind of crazy. Shout out to Steph. And how old is Steph? Steph is up there, right? He's like around, he's younger than LeBron,
old,
right?
Man. He's I don't want to say he's nearing 40s, but he's definitely in his late 30s. So he doesn't have that much time left on the clock in the NBA anyways, because, it's hard to, I don't know, because Steph says he feels great. Steph can play for a minute via Stephen Curry, and that's what LeBron said. So these are two men who really know how to take care of their bodies, and I love seeing that, because I'll tell you this. My boy James Harden, he loves to club. You've seen him in his Philly days. This man was always out at the club. He was drinking. He was with the chicks. And Steph and LeBron, they take care of their bodies a lot better than James Harden does. So I don't think my boy James will catch up to Steph. In fact, I think James will retire before Steph. And they might have. I don't. So Stephen Curry was drafted in 2009, I think.
Wow.
And James Harden was drafted in 2010, maybe. They were drafted around the same time. So to see how far Steph is ahead of James Harden. I mean, also the fact LeBron is in there is crazy, because he's not even a shooter, like top 10 3-pointers of all time. Steph really changed the game. And that's why a lot of people, you see Damian Lillard, the way Stephen Curry played put Damian Lillard in that top 10. James Harden, he's a shooter, yeah, but he had to shoot a lot more because of the way Steph played. He changed the entire game. So eventually someone's going to pass Stephen Curry. And in fact, a crazy statistic, Victor Wembanyama has made more three-pointers throughout his first 100 games than Stephen Curry did.
Wow.
So, and obviously, we all know Steph is a much better shooter than Wemby, but that just goes to show you how Steph really changed his game. So it is. And he's that guy.
I also think like, and again, I don't know a lot about basketball. That's why I got Jelinsky here. But I also just think of like Steph Curry's decorum. For
Mhm.
me, kind of like changes basketball in general. Because when I think of basketball players, listen, I'm from Philly, right? Like I think of Eric Snow. I think of Allen Iverson, right? Like I think of like gritty players.
Mhm.
And Steph Curry's not that, right? Like he's got the fundamentals, he knows what to do. And so it's just like so interesting to see, like, in my very limited perspective, right? Like it's like I just feel like Steph's just a nice guy, right? Like he's just like
Yeah.
happy go lucky, but he's out here on the courts cooking it. And again, for not 4,000 points in your career, but 4,000 threes. That's
Mhm.
crazy.
That is insane. Man, what an accomplishment. And I really do love Steph. Growing up, I hated Steph because I was such a LeBron fan. So every year when LeBron made the finals like 10 years in a row, and there's a huge stretch where Stephen Curry was just taking the title, and I'm just thinking, oh man, this fucking Stephen Curry with his super team, like he don't deserve these wins, whatever. But really he did because he makes other players around him great, like Clay, Draymond. He made them Hall of Famers. LeBron, I will say he's been on a few super teams, whatever, but he's just like Steph. Like he makes everyone around him that much better. So shout out to both of them.
Was when he was in Cleveland, did he make that a super team?
Yeah, I think so. And in fact, I think LeBron had more talent on that. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I think LeBron did have more raw talent on that Cleveland team than Steph had on that Warriors team without KD. Without KD. Because with Kevin Durant, that's a super team. And that should have never even been allowed. So
Because, well, and you would consider LeBron's time in Miami a super team, right?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
And
Yeah.
would you say that Miami supersedes LeBron's team in Cleveland?
I do, just because of the time that it happened. So the time that it happened, like 2012, 2011, 2013, no one's seen anything like that before. So I remember like the news, just like I was like, how old was I? I was like 10
I
years
was
old.
6.
I was
Yeah,
10
okay,
years
all
old.
right.
So
That
I was
tracks.
like seeing LeBron in Miami. Everyone was talking about it. Like it was supposed to be the biggest thing ever. And even LeBron said, we're not going to get 3 championships. We're not going to get 4. We're not going to get 5. Like he was saying they were going to get 7 championships. And everyone believed it because they just, no one around in the league at that time was that good. So I mean, they had a few. They should have won probably about 2 or 3 more championships than they did in hindsight. Because like Dirk beat them the first year. Dirk and Jason Kidd, OG, Sean Marion, some older players on the Mavericks. They stole the championship from them. But anyway, yeah, LeBron definitely changed that super team. He created them, so kind of his own downfall there.
Crazy. And then he's at the Lakers. And would you consider the Lakers a super team?
Nah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I think
Mm,
that they
even after the trade, even with Luca?
It, nah, yeah, I wouldn't because I think LeBron and Luca are very top tier players. Like if there's a top 10, I think they're both in there. Um, but I think there are a lot of other super teams right now. I mean,
Okay.
Jimmy Butler joining the Warriors, they're 14-1 since Jimmy joined. So
Wow.
shit. I mean, but also the Lakers, they went like 20-3 since, or maybe not 23, like 17-3 since Luca had joined. So I don't know, man. It's wide open. I think there are definitely some other super teams out there right now.
What would you consider the 76ers a super team?
Absolutely not. My Sixers are in trouble, man. Your Sixers are
Listen,
in trouble. I feel
listen.
they're like America's team, low key, because you just want to root for them, but everything goes bad.
The other
Everything.
day, I had some people come into town and they're like, "What should we do?" And they're like, "You want to go to a Sixers game?" And I was looking up tickets, and there were tickets for $1, Jelinsky. And
Oh my
they weren't even bad seats though. They weren't even
god.
bad seats. I listen, I gotta root for my Philly team, but I don't know what's going on. The only bright light that we had, and you already know how I feel, was my baby boy, Jared McCain. But after he had
Mhm.
that injury, he's out for the whole season. He's off of the cane. And so hopefully he can come back with that same tenacity. We've got Joel.
Man, fuck, bro. I'm such a big Joel
Ah,
Embiid fan. So seeing him like that, man, like I've lost a lot of respect for him. And I'm also I was a huge Ben Simmons fan, Bryce. So seeing
and
him,
so am I. Wait, okay, but listen, okay. Now we riffing a little bit. I was and I am a huge Ben Simmons fan. I also just feel like Ben wasn't built for Philly because I really feel like ultimately Ben clashed with the fans. But I do want to ask you a question because I don't really know a lot. But the Ben Simmons stall out after, us Philly was like, you don't shoot. Then Ben was claiming mental health. And then essentially he kind of forced the Sixers to trade him, although he had that contract renewal. So he's getting a lot of this money. Is this the same thing that's happening with Joel right now?
Oh, I don't think so. In fact, I would classify Ben Simmons' mental health as a much further much worse injury than everything Joel's going through. Because, man, to see who Ben Simmons was before and who he is now, there's some serious things that happen because that just doesn't happen like that. I mean, he almost was an all-star his rookie year. He averaged almost a triple-double 3 seasons afterwards. Like he still shows flashes of greatness just from who he is as a basketball player, how he grew up, his natural gifted ability. The fact that we don't get to see that every game and like 30 minutes on the floor every night, that's a travesty. And I think if Ben Simmons could go back to see Joel, it's a choice. Joel's is a choice, and also at the same time, like he doesn't take care of his body. Ben Simmons, it's just sad, man. It's so sad. I don't think it's up to him.
Is it the Kardashian curse?
Honestly, for how wicked and what's the word here? Not phenomenon, paranormal. How paranormal his shift was. Shit, Bryce, it might be the Kardashian curse.
Now, not their situations aren't the same, but like because from my perspective, I'm like, trade Joel. I'm done. I'm tired. But again, talking to my pillow companion, he's like, the contract, the money that is tied up with him, we can't just let him go.
Philly got fucked. Philly got fucked. And I feel bad for you guys because last season, bro, Joel was like, man, I ain't happy with the MVP. I want to win the championship. I'm like, fuck yeah, Joel, let's get it. Like, I love that. Now, shit, Joel, Hoel, Boel, I don't know who it is, Lakers in 5.
And is Joel's career over? Like, not over, but like, have we peaked?
We've peaked for sure. And I'm confident with saying that. Pillow Companion is right because the money is the biggest issue here. Y'all ain't getting no good from Joel Embiid. I hate to say it. It's better off trading him. And the problem is you won't be able to find a star of Joel's caliber getting paid like that because no other GM is going to take it unless you're Nico Harrison for the Mavs.
And then again, another just random question. Obviously, America loves basketball, but is this also a situation of like where money just gets in the way?
I think so because shit, Bryce, this is why I was 15 minutes late today. Money is king. I'm out here trying to hustle. I need me some money, man. Like no matter how many slot machines, no matter how many slot machine parts I sell, I still feel broke. Like shit, if there were $50 million in front of my face right now, I would do whatever somebody told me to. So
be careful with that, Jelinsky, because there's some old rich man watching.
I hope so, Bryce. I hope so. I need that. I will do anything for some money, man. Anything.
Jelinsky, I don't have no more words. Okay, listen. All right. Okay. But interesting to say. Okay, but random riff because the Sixers, I don't know what process we need to be trusting at this point. At this point, we don't need to be trusting the process. At this point, we need to go rogue. At this point, the Sixers need to January 6th. Okay. We need to storm the Capitol. We need to do something because it's just not working.
I'll show up, man. I'll show up to Philly and get this done. This is a necessity at this point.
Okay, and then last question, because this is Philly, and
Hey,
like
we got time, Bryce. I'm here. Let's get it.
it's obviously we're in a interesting predicament with him, but would you say this is this upper leadership problems, right? Are we not managing this correctly? What do you say to that?
100%, because I think that's where the power is. Now, you can really this is why the Thunder are so good right now, because their general manager, Sam Presti, he has done a terrific job. I mean, he has traded everybody, and stars in the process. Victor Oladipo, who I love, by the way, phenomenal singer. I don't know if you've seen him on The Masked Singer, but he's that guy. Domantas Sabonis, Paul.
Wait, you watched The Masked Singer?
Highlights. I love seeing them revealed.
Listen, you ain't gotta lie. You ain't got to lie. If you watch the way you said it was like that season was great compared to the previous season. So, okay.
I love singing, man. I love singing. I love singers. Victor Oladipo. You know what, Bryce? Write this down. Rainbow, Victor Oladipo. You gotta go listen to it. Masked Singer.
Is this Masked Singer?
Yup, because there is something about that performance that's so raw, authentic. It is a beautiful, beautiful cover. Like, shoot.
Wait, what was he? A green gremlin? Okay,
that's him. They called him the thingamajig.
Yeah, the thingamajig. Okay, hold on, wait. Let me save this. I'm gonna watch this tonight, and I will be texting you. Okay,
please do. So so he was on the Thunder, and Sam Presti, he traded all these stars away. Russell Westbrook for some draft picks. Now, obviously, Russell Westbrook, he was on a monster contract. Paul George, monster contract. Now, Philly can make it work, because what did OKC do? Oh, also, when they trade Paul George to the Clippers, they got SGA in that trade. So now they got an MVP candidate. They got Chet, who they drafted. They got J-Dub, who they drafted. Chet. Yep, they drafted him. So, and now they have like 30 more draft picks. They're just building through the draft. Now, if that's something Philly wanted to do, they could do it. It's all upper management at this point, because money talks, and it's all politics. If they wanted to move Joel, they could.
But they would have to we would take a hit money-wise, and our draft picks wouldn't be as high, correct?
Correct. And also, that's something that's just going to have to y'all are gonna
just have to do it. Like, bite the bullet. Like, we're waiting season after season. He's not getting better. We saw what he was eating during the Olympics. Like, I mean, it's like,
man,
what you talking about? Okay, all right, good.
Also, we've seen it with Joel, because I love that he's now an American citizen, but he's not from America, and he decided to not represent his home country and represent the United States in the Olympics. I feel like that kind of, I don't want to say speaks to your character, but that says something.
Well, you can't be talking, Jelinsky. You just said you do anything for $15 million. So, like, you really can't be mad at Joel.
Then I do anything for $8 million.
See, your money problems aren't as bad as mine, because at this point, $52. I might do something a little strange. Okay, cash at me $52. All right, but let's
at this point.
Right. Now, these are some of Jelinsky's topics, which you got here for this MVP battle, which I am also, again, part of the play-by-play on the Purple Pants, is talking about some hot topics, but also talking some topics for the gays, because I don't understand. Like, now they contending. Like, I'm confused. Break it down for me, Jelinsky.
Man, what a great picture you found as well. So these two men, Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Let me tell you all something cool about Nikola Jokic. This man hates basketball, but he is somehow the best player in the league. Like, they will interview this man, and they're like, he just won the championship 2 years ago. They were like, Nikola Jokic, how you feeling? And he goes, honestly, I just cannot wait to go home. That's what he said. And then he's also, so this is his best year statistically, Nikola Jokic. Wow. What's interesting about him is that when he is off the floor, his team is probably the worst in the NBA, ratings-wise. It is proven through the numbers. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, however, his team is the best team in the in the NBA. No, not the NBA. That's the Cavs. But in the Western Conference, and they might even be second in the NBA record-wise. And Shai's leading them towards this record. Now, if you were to take Shai off of the Thunder team, I think their team would be a little bit more successful than Nikola Jokic's team would be. Their whole team is run through Nikola Jokic. And what's interesting about this race is we see two different players as well. Both are superstars on their team. SGA, he has a little bit more power on both sides. He's third in the league in steals. He can get blocks. He's got a long wingspan for a guard. He's leading the NBA in scoring. He's a crafty scorer. Nikola Jokic, however, he's a center, and he's almost leading the league in assists. Wow. Trae Young is doing that. So, he is so unconventional in the way he plays, Nikola Jokic. And they're going back and forth every night. So they just played each other. The Nuggets won. Nikola, he took the W there. And then he went number one in the MVP race. The next week, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went number one in the MVP race. Next week,
when you say this race, it's really like their statistics, right? Like we're looking at their statistics, right? And that's like, oh, he scored more, he played more. But isn't the NBA almost like the Grammys where people vote?
Yes, but the thing is, the voters, they're all upper management of the league. So they have media outlets, they have presidents, they have a bunch of people in authoritative positions voting on these players. And statistics is a huge part of it. But I would counter what is more important is your record and team success. Now, that's why it's so close between these two, because SGA, he is the number one team in the Western Conference. However, Nikola Jokic, he's number 2 in the Western Conference. And I think the two things separating these two right now, if you took Jokic off of his team sucks. His team sucks. SGA, if you took him off the team,
they still eating.
They still eating.
See, now, again, I don't know a lot about sports, but if I'm a voter and your team sucks, but you're still cooking, I feel like I like the hungry animal, right? Like I feel like that, in my opinion, would make me want to lean more to you. But you are saying that with these statistics and these scores, they don't necessarily have to vote just because of the best scores or the statistics, because it wouldn't even be a vote, because we would literally just go based off of that.
Right. And what's so interesting too is that's why the key matchups are so important. Like when they play each other, when those two teams play each other, it's very important that your team wins. That is a huge.
I didn't think about it like that, but also it's very important that you get out there and cook. Like it's like I know that mother is about to like that. See, this is why I love play-by-play, because I never would have thought. And mind you, I'm a little slow, so it don't matter. But like I never would have thought that, right? Like it's actually like your school rivalry, and it's like I gotta cook you tonight.
Yes, exactly. Well, and that's why there's another layer to it. That's kind of what I was saying earlier. Jokic hates basketball. So that doesn't help his narrative. So he's so damn good.
He got my vote.
Also, he's either won 2 or 3 MVPs already. Now, I think he's won 3. I think he's won 3, Brice. So if he wins, and also all 3 of those years, this year statistically, he's performing better.
Year. Wow.
That's why it's hard. They've already given him the MVP 3 times, and this year he's better than all of those years. So, and it's kind of hard too, because you'll see players that are great who never win an MVP, like SGA. Say he gets snubbed this year, he might not ever have another chance to win one. So there's so many layers that go into it.
And I'm assuming it's political, because if these voters are voting, can you think of any year recently that somebody was snubbed, or the person that won compared to who they were in a race with shouldn't have won because of like the politics of the game?
There are a lot of years I could think of. I hate that. Just off the top of my head, James Harden, a lot of years he should have won the MVP and he was snubbed. He came in second. Kobe should have won the MVP a few more times than he did. LeBron should have won the MVP a few more times than he did. So,
do it matter winning the MVP if you're the face of like the NBA franchise? Or like, well, I guess that's a dumb question, because clearly statistics matter and having the MVP would matter.
Yeah, and a lot of players want to win it. So it's very rare for like someone like Jokic to be like, I just want to go back home, whatever. And he's so good. Like that honestly speaks to how good he is. The fact that he really doesn't want it and they're trying to give it to him. So, but SGA, he's got a lot of like, they say he's an aura clip farmer. So he'd be in his interviews talking like, man, this shit just comes so easy to me. Like, I just see the game in slow motion. I do this every night. Like, he'd be trying to get TikTok clips, and they don't really fuck with him like that because of it.
Do you know who Rakai is?
Who?
Rakai?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You know who Kai is? The TikToker or not, like the streamer?
Oh, yeah, Kai Cenat.
Yeah. And so like he recently just did a marathon not that long ago, but he brought on like this young guy named Rakai, and they say
okay, I know who that is.
They say he's a clip farmer. So
yes.
I'm just, connecting the dots because I'm getting very unk energy. So okay, clip farmer. Did AI ever win MVP?
Did AI win MVP once? He won MVP once. And that was kind of like revolutionary because obviously he's a smaller dude, the way that he could dominate a floor the way he did. And his teams really sucked. Like you gave a shout out to Eric Snow. That how bad Philly sucked back then, man.
But listen, we went to the championship, okay? Because I think of my peak prime Philly era was Eric Snow, Allen Iverson, rest in peace, Dikembe Mutombo. Okay, that's my Heisman Trophy players right there.
Right, and imagine if y'all had Dikembe when he was actually in his prime. Like y'all definitely could have won a couple championships, man. AI, here's the truth.
Very much so. Do you own a pair of AIs?
No, I don't. I will tell you this, Brice. There is a picture of me. I think I might have it private on my Instagram, but one of the first jerseys I ever had was an Allen Iverson jersey.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to send you a picture of that because you'll see me with the curls. And man, I was like 2 years old.
Not 2. I'm dead. I was about to invite you to the cookout, but since you had to throw that age jab, it's been.
I've got an old soul. I'll be happy to make it out there.
So who do you think is going to win? Because they've been going back and forth, but also your guy, didn't he just suffer an elbow injury not that long ago?
He did. But I think he's around. It's not too bad. He's still playing. It's not enough. He's not pulling a Joel. He'll still he'll still have as many games to qualify. But so say they both played 82 games. I think SGA is going to pull it out. I really do.
So you got to win a certain amount of games to be considered as an MVP?
Well, you got to play enough. So I think you got to play more than maybe more than 3/4 of the season. Like you might have to play 60 games to qualify, and that's a lot. That's a lot. Joel can never.
Non-city tour. We had the third stop, and I'm like, so 60 is a lot. Okay, all right. See, we're learning, we're growing, we're learning. I'd love to hear more about this historic Cavs season. They are really, really up. I think a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week, they won 14 games straight, and they're killing it.
Yeah, they got all the way up to 16 games. They're on a 16-game win streak, and they just lost. I don't know the score, but they're still red hot right now. They lost to the Orlando Magic. And what's cool about this Cavaliers team, Donovan Mitchell, he's a superstar, but none of them. So Donovan Mitchell, he just entered the MVP race. He's like number 5. But it's kind of known if you're number 5, you ain't really going to win for real. Like, it's one.
But it's still a thing to say that you're in the race, right? Is that a statistic that people 20 years will carry? Like in 2025, I was number 5. That's a confidence statistic.
It is. Yeah, you'll hear people like pull that out of the pocket every now and then because it is really cool to say. I mean, LeBron was also just in the MVP race, and he's 40, so he was number 5. But Donovan Mitchell just took his spot. Now, what's interesting about this team is that they're the winningest team in the league right now. But there's always a team like this. And I think when they get to the playoffs, I can't see it.
Jelinsky, that's the realest issue ever said. Because listen, me from Philly, right? I gotta relay everything back to Philly. The Eagles, right? First of all, shout out to the Eagles. You know, fly, Eagles fly. But every year, we be killing it. And I'm like, I don't really care. Like, talk to me when we in the playoffs because that's what matters. Now, this year we had it together, but previous years we've been on fire. We get to the playoffs and it's like, we're like, what's up football? So, and this is my struggle with sports. Now, mind you, I likes to watch. I likes the men's. I'm getting into the tea, but my struggle is, like you just said, y'all put so much emphasis on pre-playoffs, like preseason, right? Like, I don't like, cool, right? You won 13 straight. Talk to me in your first playoff series. That's what matters. And Pillow Companion is like, no, you don't understand it. No, you don't understand it. These are numbers that matter. It's like, you're great. I get it. Sure, it can bump me up in the placement. I don't have to play in to get into the not Super Bowl, but I don't have to play in to get into the playoffs. But at the end of the day, I care about the playoffs. Like, I'm sorry. I do.
Especially being a Philly fan, I know you can relate to that because, I mean, I think back in 2019 when the Raptors won Game 7 against the 76ers, when Kawhi had that little bounce shot. Oh, man. That – because I was high on Philly then. Y'all had Ben Simmons in his prime. Joel, he was hooping. That whole team was so nice. But, I mean, shit, they had a great record, too. I think they were 67-15. Shit, you know how hard it is to only lose 15 games in an 82-game season just for you to lose in the playoffs. And that's kind of the thing in the NBA too. Like, that's why growing up, like, as I've gotten older, I love watching the NFL a little bit more.
16.
But for real though, like watching the NFL, I feel like the format is so much better because look, months go by. I mean, we get a whole damn March Madness tournament in between the NBA season to the playoffs. Like, this lasts for months. This is horrible. That's why the NFL, you got like 17 games and then one by one. And then in the NBA, when you make the damn playoffs, you got potentially 7, 14, 21, 28 games to damn play.
Jelinsky, you are speaking my love language because I feel exactly the same. I don't be understanding these NBA series. Man. Maybe I need to shift my attention more to the NFL because listen, even though the preseason is hard sometimes, but I like it. Listen, you win, you move forward. Done. Right. Because it's nothing worse. And as a Philly fan, I've experienced this going into a series. You're 3 up. And you like, we got this. We go into the next round. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, okay. All right. 3-1. Oh, okay. 3-2. Like, come on.
Nah, for real. And the next thing you know, it's fucking 3-3. And then you're like, okay. All right. Surely they'll just win this last game. And then they're out.
Why? Like, just
why?
And so, like, I do understand, you know, I'm not a betting person, but you know, when I lose, it's like, all right, one more time, best 2 out of 3. But like,
right.
Can't, like, you know, shorten it. Like, I feel like y'all trying to make it more competitive. Y'all doing play-ins, best out of 3.
Well, and think about how best out of 3 for sure. Like, that is the best solution. Think about how competitive they'd be so much more competitive just like that. But shit, if they're like the NFL, man, like if they have one game to show up and fucking play, man.
Yeah, that like
it would be so much more fun to watch too. Like, everyone would be going at it like dogs.
And I feel like you wouldn't have these, nothing against the Lakers, but like you wouldn't have these teams that have 37 championships, right? Like, you know, we could get teams like the Charlotte Hornets that has never won a championship in their franchise. Like,
right.
I don't know. Me personally, I like that, but listen, I also like the shot in the dark. Okay. I also like, you might not like this. I like sweat versus savvy. So I like a lot of things that, people don't
Controversial.
historically like, but it is interesting. But so what is your prediction? Do you feel like, I'm assuming you're saying that you don't think the Cavs are going to do well in the playoffs?
You're exactly right. So I think that they'll either get knocked out the second round. They'll 100% win the first round. They'll get knocked out the second, or they'll lose in the conference finals. I don't even think they'll make the championship. But there's another side to that coin, because I will say this Cavaliers team has a lot of chemistry that you don't typically see with NBA teams. I
And
feel
is
like
it young talent?
young talent, honestly, yeah, it's a lot of young talent. A lot of guys in their 20s. They really have no vets like that. Kevin Love is about to retire, just retired. They already got his jersey in the Raptors, man. It's like they're a young squad. So if it's not this year and they somehow keep the chemistry, if their front office is smart, we could see them maybe get 3 or so championships if they do it right. If they do it right. Because Donovan Mitchell, he is a superstar. He can lead that team. Everybody else,
Is he
I
the
don't know.
franchise player?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm a huge fan of Donovan Mitchell. I even got his shoes. That's normally what I play basketball in.
Oh.
But yeah. So there's potential there for sure.
Okay. Now, let's switch subjects to something that I need to I need for you to help me understand, because my man Zion,
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused about him because Jelinsky put this on the topic, so I got to do my research. It seems like people love Zion, right? It seems like I don't know, I'm not sure if he's the franchise player or not, but it seems like people love Zion. His statistics seem to be really well. He was hurt, so he was out for a little bit. But as I'm doing my research, it seems like every year there's speculation of him being potentially traded. What's
Yeah.
up with that?
So Zion Williamson, he is a very interesting player because, I mean, as you can see, this is a big dude, man.
Yeah,
Like
and
he's 6'6", but nearly 300 pounds.
wow.
And I mean, so he went to Duke for college, and he went to what high school did he go to? Too, I'm
Shaq
forgetting.
Academy.
But yeah, right. You should, Bryce. This is another thing you got to put on your watch list.
Okay, hold
Zion
on. No.
Williamson. This is a necessity.
Okay.
Zion Williamson high school basketball highlights. Okay, if you want to watch like shit, like you're playing a video game in real life, those are the videos you got to watch. So coming out of high school and college, he went to Duke. He had a bunch of hype. I mean, his athleticism is off the charts. Head over the rim dunks, like he can look inside the hoop. He can move. He's fast, and all of this while he's 300 pounds.
Wow.
Now, what's concerning is he's 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was drafted to New Orleans, which is not a great place you want to be, man. There's a lot of food there. You could get distracted very easily. And basically, since he got drafted, he entered the league maybe around like 250, but now he weighs more than 300 pounds on the New Orleans basketball team. So,
But is he still scoring?
he's not.
Oh,
So,
okay. All right. Okay.
that's kind of the problem. So, problem is, well, I'll get into the positives here in a second, but he has gone games, over 100 games not played, maybe probably over 200 games because he has.
Is his name Joel?
Exactly. And he's young too. He's young. So he's got a lot of knee problems, and it all stems from that weight. Now, everyone has wanted to trade him because of that. They're very concerned with his health. No one thinks that he could really cut down and really lock in. And I mean, this is now like probably 3 years with this issue. Finally, we are seeing some positive Zion Williamson characteristics. I mean, he's looking skinny, he's looking built. And so now he's had probably like maybe a month or so now where he's playing games and he looks healthy. and people are like, "Oh shit, Zion is back." So he's scoring triple doubles. He's scoring the ball. He shoots the ball at a high percentage. Like he probably makes about 60% of his shots every game. Now, if Zion keeps moving in this trajectory, because right now the Pelicans have him not playing back-to-backs. So they don't want him playing back-to-back because of his health. But if he said, I want to play, they're just shutting me down. So with everything that I'm gathering, it sounds like Zion is really taking care of his health, and he could potentially be the very next superstar in the league.
Well, although it doesn't seem like he likes it, it seems like this upper leadership is taking the hand, like they're doing what needs to be done because it seems like it's working.
It is working. And now with Zion in particular, it all goes back to him. If he wants to be successful in the NBA, it's all going to go back to him because he does have the tools around him and he could really be successful. He just got to lose the weight.
That's crazy.
Yeah, for his own sake, too. For his own sake.
Because I was going to say, like, well, if you 6'4", like 300 pounds don't sound that big, but I mean, I guess it is a little big, but I'm just like, what that's his body type. But that's crazy. Like, how you get drafted?
Nah, for real. Like, they were concerned.
And I guess it really does when people say, like, it matters where you go when you get drafted, because like say you went to like LA, like a relatively like healthy, like, you know, green eating city. Again, things that I've never really considered because I just figure like you're in the NBA, you train, you play basketball, you know how to make good decisions, but like that wouldn't be me. I'd be 400 pounds.
Right. No, exactly. Yep.
So we got to keep an eye out for Zion. And is there anything else that could be lighting this match under Zion's butt to get fit? Is it like the potential of trading him, even though that seems like that's always been there? Because where he's at he's in New Orleans, they haven't really won a championship in a while. So I'm assuming they're not trading up like it would be.
No, you're right. And that's another incentive for Zion. Like, if he were smart about it, and if this is really the way he wants, if I were Zion, say championships aside, because of course I want to win a championship, but if he were really smart, because he's already got a sneaker deal, he's a great athlete. He has
a sneaker.
I don't. He signed with Jordan too, so yeah. So Jumpman signed him. He's a Jumpman. Like, it makes sense. So if he were smart about it, though, he already got his bag from the sneakers, but he could bank like easily $200 million more minimum.
Wow.
But he's got to stay healthy. So that's probably an incentive right there if he were smart. And in the process, getting traded to possibly a better team or bettering the team around him. Like, he could bring a championship to New Orleans. So there's a lot of positives. And going back to like Stephen A. Smith at the very beginning of our podcast, this is the outsiders really can play the biggest effect on you. Like, listening to media, reading media every single day, and it's all negative shit about you. Man, it is easy to succumb to that pressure. I mean, you and I experienced it, you know, with Survivor. Yeah. It's a negative fucking world. And that's why it's so important to give into the positive and surround yourself with positive people with positive mindset, because that could be the whole difference right there.
All right, well, let me add Zion's high school reel, and we'll have to keep an eye out for Zion to see what happens. Now, let's get into a subject that, you know, I know a little bit more about. I didn't put it on the list, but, you know, my man Jelinsky knows what's up. My guy Jello was out at Rolling Loud this past weekend, and he was performing Tweakers. He was performing his new song with Glorilla, Can You Please? And he also was performing some unreleased songs like Law and Order. Now, y'all already know the Ball family. The Jello is my brother-in-law. You know, Mello is my man. I like Jello's music. I will have to say, like, his performance at the All-Star game, a little lackluster. What I will say, and his performance at that football game that they was blaming him because they lost, and they said he wasn't from the city, that's why they lost. What I will say about my man Jello, watching Rolling Loud, he's getting better. He's getting better. And I also feel like it is us as the consumer, because again, I go down rabbit holes. Like sometimes I feel like I have insomnia, Jelinsky, and like I'm going to sleep early tonight. I literally will go to sleep at like 9 o'clock. I wake up at 2:45, and from 2:45 to literally 7 o'clock, I'm up going down rabbit holes. I've gone down the Ball family rabbit hole probably like right after our last play-by-play. And I was like watching just like clips of Jello. And I really do feel like Zoe and Melo kind of outshine Jello. So it's like we don't really get to see a lot of Jello. And so when I'm seeing his performance, I'm like, bro, like, where's your breath control? What are you doing? However, Rolling Loud, he was a little better. They were like playing a track and then they was cutting the music off and you could hear him performing. But it is funny because he's got these little dances that I'm watching. I'm like, Jello, that's weird. However, I think it is more that we need to get used to that this is Jello, because I went back and I was watching, don't ask me why, 4 a.m, I'm watching season 2, episode 3 of Ball Family. And it's like Jello is doing the same dance that he is doing now on Rolling Loud. So I just feel like we just got to get used to Jello a little bit. But I also feel like, and again, that's my brother-in-law. I love Jello, but like, because I don't want to be negative because I love Jello. I really do. But like, Jello, and mind you, you heard the Tweakers remix with Lil Wayne? Like, he's got a lot of momentum, but I need Jello to remember that if we're putting rap like basketball, like, you're not the number 3 contender for the MVP. Like, you're actually the 432 draft on the G League team. Like, I need for you to move like that as an artist, right? Like, Jello is a little too cool. Now, mind you, I like it because I like Jello, but I feel like you moving too cool. You moving like you Kendrick or somebody. Like, it's like, you're not.
Nah, I completely agree. And I feel bad. Like, I just don't want him to get comfortable because, shoot, I mean, to collab with Glorilla too in today's world, bro, I love me some Glorilla. Like, she's good what she does. So that's bigger than Lil Wayne at this point, in my opinion.
I agree.
So that's a step in the right direction. But like you said, don't get comfortable, Jello, because you got a lot more work to do, and we want to see you succeed. And I mean, I got to watch the Rolling Loud because that's hilarious. I feel like I got to go and watch that, see how he did live again. I did watch the All-Star game. Yeah. I did.
He does this weird dance. I'm trying to tell you. It's like he'd be like, I'm like, what is that?
He's getting excited and shit. See, I watched the Lions game too.
I didn't like the Lions game performance at all. He was too cocky, too like, I'm like, what are you doing? But listen, I can say that because I'm saying that with love, and Jello is my brother-in-law, but I don't want too much hate on Jello. But right, it's like, bro, you're too cocky. However, it's like, for me, I'm from the East Coast. Like, I'm from Philly. We have our own little, like, he is from LA, right? He does have his own little, like, so I want to give him that grace. But it is like,
I'm excited to see what he does. I hope that he keeps riding the wave, but keeps going up. Because what I don't think he'll go down. I think he'll just stay right here.
I don't know, because again, I don't want to hate, but I just want to say this. Like, do you remember Panda? What's that guy? Designer. Remember? I got rolled in Atlanta. Like, it's just like, and mind you, but Panda was bigger than Tweakers. So I don't know. I hope that he keeps grinding, and I just need for him to, it's almost like he's not committing to his stage performance as a rapper. It's like he's cosplaying as a rapper. Like, no, I want you
to, a side quest.
Right. Like, I want you to like get into the action, like become it, whatever it is. Like, you might not be a Kendrick. You could be more of like a Drake, but like just find your lane. I just feel like he's just kind of like imitating at this point, but I still love him. I still have bought, not streamed, but bought, for people I like, I be buying albums. I be buying singles. I don't know why though. I really
that's actually awesome. That's cool.
But I
like
do.
that. If you ever run into him, then you can tell him, I'd say, hey, listen, I ain't just streaming your shit. I bought that. Like, I want you to know I bought that.
I would have to show him. And it's funny because it's like, I would be more hyped to meet Jello before I would, I don't want to meet Melo.
Man, no.
I don't. Because, here's the thing. I love Melo, but mind you, I've seen enough of Melo. I don't think Melo would be receptive to my type of energy. And I don't even think, I'm not even I'm just saying, I just feel like I have seen enough of Melo. I've been watching the clips of him drive off in his cars from the games, and I've seen enough of Melo to know. And so listen, that's me getting older, realizing they say don't meet your, and I don't. I just want to lust from afar. But I feel like I could get a Jello. I could so that's my end. So I don't want to meet Melo. And mind you, Melo's reps have reached out to me before, FYI, just so y'all know. Just so people know. Okay. I don't talk a lot of stuff, but
wait, this is big news.
You know my birthday was the other day, right?
I do. We had that Brice week. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Don't tell me these came from the reps.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. The reps know how much I love and Jelinsky. I don't like to brag a lot.
Oh, they're taking care of you.
I'm just saying, Jelinsky, that
man,
the Puma reps over there at Puma. Jelinsky, I am not done.
Oh my God.
Over there.
I've seen Brice in person wearing the Melos too. I've seen that. This is crazy.
Wendell gets mad at me because he's like, I should wear them more. Hold on, sorry. I don't want to and I'm not trying to flex or anything, but I'm just trying to tell you the Puma reps know that I bang with Melo. And so for my birthday and for Christmases, I do get PR packages. But this was from my last birthday, so shout out to Melo.
Oh, that is awesome. Shit, I'm jealous.
So I'm just saying, Jelinsky, people be thinking the Purple Pants podcast is a joke. No, listen, I got the real hitters. And listen,
you got the Puma sponsor, the Melo Ball sponsorship.
Trying to tell you, and I'm actually, I don't want to flex. Give me 1 second. I don't like to do a lot, but so they did send me those sneakers for my birthday, but they also sent me the slides.
Those are clean too.
And I don't ever talk about it because I don't want to seem like braggadocious.
Right.
But these were my favorite ones that I got in the box.
I can see in this. We gotta set up a meeting, Brice.
I mean, but these are my favorite ones. Shout out to Melo, shout out to Puma. He did sign the box. It's not like it was happy birthday, Brice, but there is a Melo signature on this box. So it's I don't want to beat him though, Jelinsky, because I already know, I would be like, no, and he'd be like, what's up, bro?
I don't know. Shit, we'll see. We'll see what Jelinsky can do. Maybe he knows Melo.
Jelinsky and I'm crazy. I wouldn't trust myself. I really wouldn't trust myself. I'm like, Melo, baby, and me. And I really do lose control. So I really don't want to meet him because I just want to keep my Melo love. But keeping the Ball family, shout out to Jello, Rolling Loud. Also, TMZ broke the news that LeVar had to have his left foot amputated. But and this is why people can say whatever they want to say about LeVar. I love LeVar. He's just so funny. And right after we got this news that he did have a serious health issue, he went in, they had to amputate his foot. For me, it sounds like diabetes, but who knows? The first video that he makes, he's talking about Jello song. I might swerve on him. And then his next video, he's like, and people say that Michael Jordan's still better than me. I'll grow another foot. It's just is crazy. And losing a foot could be devastating. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about like that's something that really could like paralyze you, could stunt you, could really just have you in a dark place. And LeVar is out here trolling, clip farming, and still being LeVar. And so that's why I really do appreciate a LeVar. But it was really sad to see him lose his leg to be amputated. Also, I really do want you to start watching, but I have to do a better job, Jelinsky. I want you to watch like Jello and Zoe's podcast with their.
Okay.
It is kind of interesting. I like it for a different reason. Like they be talking about hot topics and stuff. I really just like it because I feel like you just get a different perspective of their personalities, which is why I always give so much grace to Jello, because it's like I don't think people know his personality. Like he really is kind of just like laid back and chill. But also, when you're a performer, I'm gonna need you to step up. But
Right. Nah, man, and I want to start watching that too because I always see clips on TikTok, of course. But with LeVar, like with his three boys too, LeVar and credit to Tina, they obviously are terrific parents. And seeing, and I mean, we both know this because we watch Ball in the Family. But like seeing LeVar, and especially after everything that Tina went through with her stroke,
right,
seeing LeVar, like that's like watching one of your heroes go down, watching him lose his foot. And you're right, like that could be devastating. I know if I lost my foot, I'd probably quit my job. Like, I'd be in bed, just depressed with my life. LeVar, in true LeVar fashion, he's like a superhero. He didn't take
right.
he a cameo. He said, "I don't grew my foot back." I loved that because I was scrolling on Cameo. I was like, man, let me see who's number one on the leaderboard these days. LeVar, no surprise there. He's just so like infectious with love. I love that man.
He really is. And so, best wishes to my father-in-law and to my brother-in-law, Jello. And then the last topic we got to get through. This is a longer play-by-play, but listen, when Jelinsky want to play one-on-one on the court, he want to play a little horse. We gonna play horse with him.
We got a lot to talk about.
Let's get to these trade performance reviews with Luka and AD. And I have to say, I feel like I said this last episode, but I'm gonna just say it again. After because I purposely be typing names into my algorithms so that they pop up. And I've been seeing a lot more of Luka, and Luka's been cooking over there at the Lakers. And I don't know, maybe I was being a little biased with a name like Luka. I thought Luka was going to be like a little like Luka, but it's really like Luka, like Luka.
Yeah. That's what it's like.
Yeah, Luka got a little something with him. I like he's not friendly, but like it's like Luka is like nasty. Pause, but like I like it. And
He's a dog for sure. And that's actually, I really like these European basketball players because they say in Europe, they say that shit is hard. And especially if you like play there as a teenager, like Luka did, he's been playing professional basketball since he's 14. So he came into the NBA saying, oh, this shit is easy. Like they don't play defense for real. Nikola Jokic the same way. They're in Europe, they're out there like fucking each other up. And that's why you'll hear shit like Luka, like, really going at people, talking shit, playing dirty, and he's a big dude too. So, and this is why I thought it'd be interesting to talk about their reviews because we've seen some games with them now. Luka, he's probably played about 20 games with the Lakers. And, it took him a little bit because, moving to a new team like that after being the franchise player of another team. Shit, now him and LeBron both scoring 30-point triple-doubles on the same team. Nah, that's crazy. And then Anthony Davis, we haven't seen him. He played one game and he got hurt. And not only did he get hurt and play the one game, Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. So now the Mavericks, there's like a bunch of memes going on about the Mavericks right now. They're just going to shut the season down. They're going to tell the players to go home for the rest of the season. Because everything's going bad for them. They're somehow worse than Philly right now, Brice.
Hey, not too much. Okay.
But they're bad. They're bad.
Are they on track to make the playoffs?
They, believe it or not, they are. They are.
And this is the crazy part, right? You see all this ish that we're talking right now. It's like I feel like always what happens in basketball is then they'll play the Cavaliers and then they'll smoke the Cavaliers in the series and it'll be like, what the? And that's why I always say the preseason don't matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter. But
right. Shit, and honestly, it really doesn't matter for teams like. Honestly, the preseason is just negative. The season is negative for a lot of teams because the Lakers, for example, your best player, I'll say your best player is LeBron because I truly believe that. And he's 40. He's 40. Like, don't play that man for 82 games, man. Like, he's not like in his 20s. So this is just possibly detrimental to certain players and certain franchises. The Mavericks, they were on track to make the playoffs. They still are. But Kyrie tore his ACL. Anthony Davis is out for the season. They traded Luka. Like, it's all bad for the Mavericks right now, and it's just bad.
I mean, I know tearing an ACL is bad, but I mean, especially in the NBA because your money is guaranteed, not like in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm an Anthony Davis, I mean, I ain't that mad. So, I like little that's what PTO, sick time is for.
Right.
But again, it does suck for the fans who were excited to get a healthy Anthony Davis and hopefully help boost your team. And then it's just like
shit. And I feel bad for those fans because not only were they hoping for a healthy Anthony Davis, they were hoping for a Luka Doncic, and they done traded him away.
Right.
It's just sad.
And they still not moving to Las Vegas.
Right. No, they're still not moving to Las Vegas. This shit's all whack. We need LeBron. Okay, I don't want LeBron to retire, but he's saying he's bringing an NBA team to Vegas, and I would love for him to be a part of it. Just like how Tom Brady owns a little bit of the Raiders now. Like, we're booming out here. We're booming.
Let me ask you a random question. Is Tom Brady from Los Angeles, LA, California?
That I don't know. I want to say no.
I'm confused as to why it's like the Tom Brady International Airport.
Stop. Is it really?
Or they have like a Tom Brady terminal. Like, I was like, what the hell? Like, ain't Tom Brady, like, did he play? Shouldn't that be the Boston Logan? Like, I was confused. But if somebody could let me know why Tom Brady has a terminal at LAX, I greatly appreciate it.
That's crazy. Well, and that's why, like, it does make sense to kind of get invested in the Las Vegas sports market because we don't have anybody. We don't have nothing going on here. So we see Tom Brady on.
We have a hockey team.
You're right. My bad. See the NHL. We're a good team. We won the Stanley Cup one year. Actually, the year that I went and played Survivor. So I came back and the whole city was lit up in like gold and red and silver lights. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I'm not an NHL guy. I'm not. But what I'm getting at here. This whole city loves NHL players. So
I would imagine if y'all won.
Yeah, right. The Tom Brady, you own a little bit of the Lakers. Now your Vegas royalty or Raiders, not the Lakers. LeBron, come to Vegas. We'll treat you the same. Shit, I'll treat LeBron. He's the GOAT. So we need more sports out here in Vegas.
Okay. Well, this has been an excellent A+. I mean, I feel like we would be on track for an MVP episode this week. I can't thank you enough, Jelinsky, for coming on, talking a little play-by-play. I appreciate everyone for listening. Make sure you subscribe, watch, let us know what you think about our takes. Jelinsky, what you got going on before we leave?
Man, thank you for having me, Brice. As always, I'm excited for the next one because then we'll talk about March Madness too, because then we got that starting up. So we already got to get the next one in the books. Other than that,
the NBA draft, that's in the summertime, right? Like, when is that? Like,
that is in the summertime. And typically, I think it's around June. So
okay. Well, we have to do a special because normally on my Instagram, I just post my top 10 favorite people from the draft. Has nothing to do with their statistics. It has everything to do with their genetics. So we'll have to combine our drafts, and we might have to get some special people. I think maybe Jack might want to sit in on that, and we'll have to get some people to join us for that. But what you got cooking? Yeah,
that sounds great. And also, speaking of Jack and Wendell, I gotta get out there for a Purple Pants Podcast Survivor rendition. I gotta get up next. Y'all put me next. I'm ready.
Listen, We seeing what Jelinsky talking about. His ACL might be hurt. I don't know. We gotta see. But yeah, no, absolutely, Jelinsky. We can get you on for Survivor News. Survivor News has been cooking, but not as much as we've been balling on play-by-play. Jelinsky, again, I can't thank you enough. This has been your Purple Pants podcast, play-by-play for the month of March. We'll see you in April. We out.
It's the Purple Pants podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh. It's the Purple Pants podcast. You're trying to unwind, you better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants podcast. You're trying to get your snack, you better hurry right back though. It's the Purple Pants. It's the Purple Pants.